Hi everyone, Stu again. This is my second video, so I was thinking of maybe doing a bullying video. This is just going to be me talking about what I went through when I was younger, and maybe how I dealt with some of it, and also when I was an adult, because with being an openly gay man and with being overweight, and not necessarily good looking, a lot of people tend to have more vocal opinions, which in all fairness I think I'm a little bit like hard worn to, so I'm not really as bothered by some of it now. Some of it still does bother me, but other bits don't. But when I got emotionally bullied at primary school, which I think back now was probably a lot worse than I probably let on sometimes. It was more just name calling, and obviously you got the hideous words like you fag, you puff. And in all fairness, and I think back now, I think they probably are more ashamed of acting like that than I am, because at the end of the day, I've heard it so many times now. It's just over the head. But when I was in secondary school, it did go from just words to more physical. I did have a lot of problems with some peers in my class and some people at school. And I think everybody has probably gone through a time in their life where they've felt like they've either been bullied or victimised for some reason. It might not be that you're gay or that you're fat. It could be that you think you've got something wrong facial-wise, big teeth, big nose, something that you probably wouldn't have picked up on, but somebody else did. And at the end of the day, them faults that other people think you have is what makes everybody different. If everybody looked the same and everybody had the same nose, the same hair, the same face shape, the same voice, the same sexual orientation, it would be a pretty boring world. And I think at the end of the day, I quite like the fact that I've got a bigger face. I quite like the fact that maybe my eyes aren't as small or as big as what other people think. And that doesn't bother me, it really doesn't anymore, because if you've got to learn to love yourself, and I think that's probably the biggest thing I could say to you, is if you're happy with you, then what they say, you try to shrug off. And I know it sounds a lot easier than said, but if you don't, then I think you sort of a little bit dies in you each time, because it's a constant battle with people. And I think if you didn't do that, I would hate to think of people committing suicide or self-harming, which is heartbreaking to even think about, that a child or a teenager would even think of doing that, because you are worth so much more than what the bullies, or it can even be parents, because I've heard of some parents that bully the children and speak to the children in the way that they do. And I think at the end of the day, they must be so unhappy within themselves to have to turn that around onto you. And at the end of the day, in my head, I always felt like there must be some sort of jealousy towards them for them to have to victimise you. And at the end of the day, if you look at your life, you might not have all the money, you might not have the fanciest of clothes, the best makeup, the best hair, or the best car, or live in the best area. But at the end of the day, in 10 years' time, nobody knows what's going to happen. They could be homeless, they could have nothing. You could be a millionaire, you could have the best job in the world, but you've had the best education, you've got the best grades. Nobody can prejudge what you're going to turn into. Nobody can try to force you to do things that you don't want to do. And at the end of the day, you have to look inside yourself and think, do you know something? I'm stronger than what they are. They must have a really crap life for them to have to turn around and try to blame me for their shitty life. I apologise that I just used that word. Sorry. I get pretty emotional about this, because it's something that I find disgusting and very disturbing. That in our day and age, that doesn't sound right. In this day and age, there we go. In this day and age, that people still find it okay to bully other people. You get it. You certain things happen within life that you can't avoid. I didn't choose to be gay. it's who I am, and it's something I can't change, and it's something I don't want to change. I am quite happy with my partner. I've been with my partner nearly 7 years. I love him to bits, and it's something I will never ever change. And I think that some parents think, well, it is changeable. We'll send them here. We'll do this. We'll do that. It doesn't work. I have seen so many programs about turning my son straight in films, and it doesn't work. It doesn't. They can live lies, and they're 10, 20, 30 years down the line, I'll turn around and go, actually, Mum, I am gay. Or it can be it can be anything. It doesn't have to be about sexuality. I'm just basing that on mine, because that's where I found a lot of difficulties in my life, was through my sexuality. But I think if you aren't positive about yourself, if you aren't proud to be you, then people find it easier, because they see you getting more hurt each time. They think, oh, well, we'll go for Stuart because Stuart's crying in a corner. Stuart's gone home early because he's feeling emotionally drained. And it happens. It will happen. And I hope to God that you're strong enough, and that you can turn to your parents, turn to your best friend, turn to anybody and just say, I need help. Somebody's doing something. Somebody's doing this. Somebody's saying that. It's always better to talk to somebody than to try to deal with it by yourself, because I think a problem halved is a problem shared is a problem halved. I really do, and I stand by that. Maybe you don't want them to go to school and make the problem worse, but if you're in year 7, or like 12 years old, going into secondary school or high school if you're American, I think you having to deal with them people for the next 5 years, the best thing will be to deal with it as early as possible. And maybe say to your mum or your dad or your grandparent or your best friend or a teacher at school, and just turn around and say, he or she's bullying me for this reason. I am scared that maybe this is going to come back and bite me in the bum later. But if you don't deal with it now, are you going to be happy for 5 years' time to still have that problem, to maybe still have that difficulty? And I think I had a very good support system with a very good friend, and she helped me through a lot of my problems when I was younger. My parents had their own problems, and I didn't feel as if I could go to my parents sometimes. I did speak to my mum quite a lot, but I still felt that maybe my best friend was the better person to talk to. But it's the same as finding a niche at school. Once you found somebody to talk to or something else, and they like you for being you, not because you've got money, not because you're a pretty person or anything else. You have to find a group of people, or a single person doesn't have to be a group, somebody who likes you for you, somebody who you can talk to about school, about friends, about relationships, about homework, about anything. It doesn't have to be just about bullying. You've just got to find somebody that can give you a great network of hope and of being you. I know that sounds really stupid, and I hope my advice on my past is helping somebody. But how do I put it? Only you can change your life. Only you can turn on and say to somebody, this is happening. Or it can be to do with anything. It doesn't have to be bullying. It can be doing with struggling with homework. I was dyslexic at school, so I was quite undeveloped as in reading and writing, so I struggled to read and to write, and now I read books every day. I love to read, and I can spell and write. I still struggle now. I still have to ask for somebody, oh, how do you spell this? But I think I'm not proud of that, but I've worked through that the best way I can, and I think if you put everything into it, you can do the same, because every single one of you people, you YouTubers or followers or whatever you want to call yourselves, you are all individual. You all have beautiful, unique souls and hearts, and you are such beautiful people as you are. You do not have to change for anybody. It is your life. You live it your way. You only have one. Nobody can tell you how to do anything but you. I think that's all I wanted to say, really. I'm sorry if this was drag. I just wanted to get that out there, and maybe even just somebody watch it and go, oh, well, I watched that guy Stuart's video. He helped a little bit. honestly, just be yourselves, because at the end of the day, there's only you. You've only got your one life. Don't try to be something you're not. That's probably the best advice I could give you. And I wish YouTube and the internet existed when I was a teenager, and that I could have got just a little bit of advice about being a teenager, and going through some very difficult times, because it is a very difficult time. I think every teenager struggles to do with something in their teenage life, whether it be puberty, their sexuality, their preference, bullying. It literally, you go through so many stressful things in a short time. Everybody has moments where they're just like, oh, I just don't know what to do. But I do think you need to ask for help or speak to anybody you want to speak to. And I hope it helps. And I think that's all I had to say. So thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!